in its current form would be very difficult. And capitalism in its current form, we're talking about the post-Second World War liberal rules-based international order, the system that was set up with the IMF, IBRD, World Bank, the trading system, so the money and the trading systems, from post-Second World War. As it is, I think it has run its course. Unless there's some serious fundamental structural reform and revamp, it's going to lead to a lot more unhappiness within societies and across societies. We already see some manifestations of that with the Trump administrations and the populist upsurges in Europe and elsewhere. So in its current form, very difficult. It has to be shaken up to its core foundations, and it has to address issues of inequality or the inefficiencies. I mean, we're looking at a complete overhaul of the post-war international institutions of the global economy. The IMF, why should the IMF be headed by a French? Why should the World Bank be headed by the Americans? Whereas China, whereas India, many other European countries and Southeast Asia and so on. So that system, I think, is run its course. But will capitalism itself survive? That is a bigger question. You mentioned different civilizations over time. Greece and Egypt and Mesopotamia, Greece and Rome, and even the British Empire. Over time, eventually will dissipate and maybe not falter, not collapse altogether, but decline, fades into decline. And we're seeing some of that with the United States of America. Now, capitalism is a bigger question because, to me, it's not about civilizations, rise and fall of different civilizations. Capitalism may be a little bit more like it's a system to organize a socio-economic arrangement to organize society, right? And it's maybe analogous to the political system of autocracy and democracy. Over time, in the past, there were more autocracies, but over time, democracies made a comeback, and now we have more democracies in the world. But in fact, democracy has been in retreat around the world. So we're seeing shades and growing authoritarianism and autocracy in the world. So we can see maybe capitalism in terms of free market giving way to more regulation, more, say, even authoritarian capitalism, as in China. But as long as it has a self-adjusting mechanism, it will find a way to go up and down. And when you think that it's in retreat, and the retreat can take a long time, by the way, in the future, it can come back. So democracy now is taking a beating everywhere. But as authoritarianism leads to more abuses and more unhappiness, I could see democracy, let's say in Southeast Asia, where I live, make a comeback in 20 years and 30 years' time. In the 1990s, early 2000s, democracy was having a great day in Southeast Asia. A lot of promise potential. But then now authoritarianism is, kind of taken over. But in 20 years' time, 30 years' time, democratization can still make a big comeback. So capitalism is being discredited. We have a lot of problems, inequalities, inefficiencies, monopolies. A lot of people are unhappy with the capitalist orders that they have in their countries because they're not benefiting, they're not getting a fair share of the pie, not getting a fair shake. People will get richer, inequality widens. So there's a sense of injustice. And this will lead to a shake-up. It could take some time, but after some cleansing, after some reckoning, it could still make a comeback in terms of the capitalism, in terms of ordering a society based on the basic laws, the basic practices of capitalism. Because the alternative could be worse, because you can have a a lot of regulation, even more central planning, let's say China. Let's say China as an example. Maybe 20 years time, 30 years time, they'll lose the magic touch. Corruption will rise. The government cannot deliver on growth. And then people realize that maybe the market is where they need to go. So capitalism, even in China, can become even less state-driven and even more market-driven, but it just takes time.